Welcome to Primetime, everybody. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss, and tonight we are doing our most anticipated horror movies of 2023 in March. Hey, you know what? Just go with us here. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad and Carrie. How's it going, guys?
It's going great.
Going great.
We probably need to plan this out a little bit better. Maybe do that in January or December of next year if we're still hanging out until then. I'm sure we will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited just because like 2022 was pretty excellent for horror and just like film in general. So, and I think 2023 is already starting out pretty well. I don't know if it's going to be already released or if we will be releasing soon a spoiler Scream 6 review. So we can share all of our thoughts on that film. But that won't be on this list because it's already out. Although there may be one that is out that none of us have seen. Yet, so, but yeah, I'm excited to go through this slate.
Carrie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, I've got 8 movies. Chad, I think, said had 12 movies.
11 or 12. Yeah, I got 12.
So far, I've got 6 on my list.
Oh, okay. She started out not having a list, and then she just started making
in the last 5 minutes.
And the 12th movie, might not even be a horror movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna add one more to mine as well because if it doesn't count as horror, just let me know, and then we'll go from there.
I don't think until it comes out. Actually, you know what? I think it might be sort of a horror movie. So anyways, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. How should we do this? Just go one at a time, picking movies out of our most anticipated?
Yeah, because like
talk about it.
I tried to do it as far as like what I'm the most excited about, but I didn't like really rank it in super any particular order. So
I didn't either.
I might go just alphabetical.
Yeah, that works. Chad, you want to start with your first most anticipated movie?
All right, if I'm going alphabetical, leaving out articles, then I believe the first movie is the next Ari Aster movie, Beau is Afraid. Now, I don't know too much about this. Ari Aster kind of like has a thing where he'll release a movie or like before the movie comes out, it'll just be kind of like shrouded in mystery a little bit. And then as soon as it comes out, people are like rushing to go see it. He's like Jordan Peele in that way. He's only released 2 feature films so far, Hereditary, Midsommar. Hereditary, which I adore. That's absolutely in like my top 10 of favorite horror films of all time. And Midsommar is a very worthy successor to it. Like, the next great Ari Aster film. I don't love it personally, but I've only seen it once, like when it first came out. So Carrie and I are gonna rewatch that at some point. I know Hunter and Carrie both really like that one, and I know it's just generally like a really well liked movie. So both of those are pretty incredible and well liked, except for there's some people that don't like Hereditary, but it's okay. It's a very affecting movie, and so I think Beau is Afraid is gonna be kind of like that, but this might be more of a comedy horror type of vibe. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in it. And I don't really know what it's about. You guys might be able to enlighten me on that. I saw the trailer once. It was very strange, and it just looks different than anything he's done so far. So I'm interested in it. Maybe not the top of my list anticipated, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so I also have Beau is Afraid on my list. Carrie, you want to talk about this one for a minute?
Yeah, I actually didn't put this on my list. I'm a little nervous about it looking at the trailer, and I think this one, it's either based on like a book or something, or someone had maybe like read, there was like kind of a different plot to begin with that kind of maybe hints at what the plot like a twist might be. I'd read about. I don't know. It kind of freaks me out, like having the Joaquin Phoenix faces everywhere.
Well, you liked Men.
I liked Men, so I could be, and like Ari Aster has never disappointed me, but I do know his like. As much as I've liked Midsummer and Hereditary, like his short film that got him famous is extremely dark. I don't know if that's kind of the direction he's taking with this, and like, I think the Joaquin Phoenix stuff is kind of like freaking me out a little bit, and that's why I'm a little bit kind of
like, he's a freaky dude.
I'm like,
yes,
this isn't in my actually most anticipated list. I'm definitely, I know, gonna wind up watching it. But I won't be disappointed if it's just not my style.
It does look like it's it doesn't look like it's based off of a book.
Okay, so I'm thinking he had pitched something, I think originally, that maybe gives away or is hinting towards what the movie,
like a short story type thing, like a short movie type thing.
Well, yeah, he didn't do a short movie, but I think the pitch for it was published or something, or someone has commented publicly about what the pitch was. So,
but
the original description or something was a little different.
But I will just throw out that the tagline, it looks like, from his darkest fears comes the greatest adventure. So it feels like it's gonna be like some sort of weird like comedy, horror, drama, but like maybe an action adventure. Feels like it's epic, whatever it is. So
yeah. So based on the trailer, I can see this kind of dealing with like a mental health issue, like, and the fact that like that's what kind of Ari Aster does well is like he takes horror and gives it a twist on like a mental health issue, whether it's dealing with depression or dealing with, kind of this anxiety disorder in Midsommar. So it's interesting to see if like maybe Beau is Afraid is dealing with maybe like not claustrophobia, but like the fear of like being out in public.
That is agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia, yeah, being out in public and maybe just kind of dealing with that mental issue. Maybe so. What I'm getting from it is like maybe Beau is someone who stays inside. Maybe he's somebody who kind of creates his own world inside his mind, and that's why we get like the multiple Joaquin Phoenixes, and we get multiple like weird like cut scenes and things like that. So I think this could be a really interesting like look at like like maybe like multiple personality disorder and different types of like closing yourself off, which gets me very excited to see what he can do with in this type of realm.
Actually, I think you're exactly right, Hunter, because the pitch I was referring to was, I think it was originally pitched as a movie about agoraphobia. So I think you're probably right on track, and that's cool that you got that from the trailer and the information that's been released about it so far.
One more quick thing before we move on. It looks like Nathan Lane's going to be in it. I wonder if there's going to be like a musical sequence.
I love Nathan Lane.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Also expanded my list to 10 now, cool. And I think I'm done. I'm capped at 10.
Hopefully, we'll have a lot of overlap.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole lot of overlap. Carrie, do you want to go in and pitch your next movie?
Sure. So, and actually, I'm pretty sure this is going to be released this year. I actually didn't see it on a bunch of lists, but I'm assuming it's going to be released this year, and that's Maxine.
Oh my god!
I didn't see it on any list, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be released this year.
Yes, I believe it is.
So obviously that will be the ending to, I guess, unless he makes more, but in theory it's supposed to be the ending to the trilogy. Started with X and then the prequel, and then Maxine will follow Mia Goth's character from X. After, I think it's after the events of X. So obviously very excited for that. I really liked both X and Pearl. So I don't see Ty West going wrong here. And I'm just very interested to see in general where he takes Maxine's character from where we last left her.
Yeah, so I completely like blanked on the fact that Maxine was coming out this year because I thought he was gonna take some time and release it next year, but I guess because he released Pearl and X last year, he's doing Maxine as the ending this year. I am super excited for this. As you guys know, I love X and I love Pearl. I'm very excited to see Ty West's take on like the VHS market and what that did with the porn industry and things like that, and like, you know, Maxine wanted to be a star, but what does that do when, you know, people can just buy tapes? People aren't going to the theaters, you know, so much more. Um, Plus, I'm very excited to see how he takes the land of Hollywood as a set piece and gives us some very good creative kills out of it, like Scream did in its setting of New York. You know what I mean? Like using the setting to its advantage.
Actually, and I'll correct myself, apparently Maxine has not gotten a release date yet, so it could actually wind up being 2024 that it comes out.
If it is, then it's fine either way. I'm pretty sure it's coming out towards the end of this year, but Chad?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like, you know, because I'm kind of iffy on the franchise of this whole thing, because, like, you know, I like Ty West because, like, House of the Devil, and then coming in, I didn't love X, but then I really like Pearl. So, you know, it's one of those things where I'm interested to go back to X and then maybe move, you know, watch X and then Pearl again, in preparation for Maxine, and then, you know, uh, and then I might be even more hyped after that, like maybe seeing like a trailer for Maxine, and then watching those again or whatever, you know, probably would get me more hyped. For now, since it doesn't have a release date or anything like that, I'm not like crazy, like when is that coming out or anything like that. But, you know, generally I'm excited if maybe like early buzz or something's really good or something like that. But yeah, it's been pretty generally positive for that franchise in general. So, you know, I'm excited, especially like just for like anything Mia Goth is probably going to be pretty incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so on to me. I'm going with one that's coming out early next month. That's Evil Dead Rise. I am super excited for this movie, guys. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I love 2013's Evil Dead, and this feels like it's going off of that template, putting it in a high-rise building. Um, the family dynamic, the trailers looked absolutely gory, absolutely amazing. Um, yeah, Evil Dead Rise could be like could be my favorite movie of 2023. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I didn't know much about it. Then I saw the trailer and I was like, "What the hell?" And that's like, I don't know. It's just like when they can make me say that at a trailer and just like go, "I'm legitimately nervous to actually go see this because it's probably going to be pretty damn freaky." Um, you know, it's just it excites me, but also makes me nervous to go see it. But no, I'm very excited. I'm also a very big Evil Dead fan. More of the classics, you know, the 2013. I've kind of like faltered on as or like it's Wayne's. In my mind, like I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. But I think that's mostly like the one like dog part. But I just skip that and stuff. But it is like really cool, really well done the way they did that and bloody and stuff like that, which is really cool. But I like what they're doing with this is they're not trying to like continue that storyline really. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing like something else. And I think that's very interesting, you know, for this one because it doesn't feel like a remake of anything. It just feels like a new story set in that universe with Deadites. And, you know, I'm sure maybe Ash might show up or at least be mentioned or, you know, something like that might be
Mm-hmm.
really cool. So, or maybe they'll, I don't know, tie something into the show. I have no idea, but I
That
haven't
could be
watched
interesting.
much of the show. But yeah, I'm very excited just because it looks like it's going to be freaky. And yeah, it could end up being a lot of people's favorite horror movie of the year. So, and you said maybe your favorite film of the year. That's pretty high expectations. So hopefully it lives up to that for you because I want it to be great.
Yeah. Carrie?
Yeah, this is my most anticipated movie of the year as well.
My most anticipated horror, I'll say, but
I'll say overall my most anticipated.
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I again never been disappointed by an Evil Dead movie. I love them all. And just based on the trailer, it seems like they're going to be doing all of the classic things that we all love about the Evil Dead. And I think it will follow kind of in the footsteps of 2013 with being just gory and over the top, but also just so fun. And yeah, I do expect it to be, like Chad said, like very scary. I'm hoping, because like slashers don't really scare me, right? Like I love Scream 6, but I'm not gonna say it like scared me or anything. I'm hoping this Evil Dead Rise like kind of fulfills that scariness.
We'll get there, but Scream 6 did scare me a little bit for sure.
There was one part that was, I was like, oh, we're getting a little spooky.
I will say there are some great lines in the trailer too, and the trailer, I think it didn't show too much. I think it showed just enough to get me excited. I love the line where it's like, "Mama's with the maggots now." I don't know why it's the way she said that. Oh, skin crawling, man, so good.
Yeah, I mean it seems like just like some sort of crazy like mixture of The Exorcist and Evil Dead. So
there's a scene that kind of reminds me of The Shining, the elevator with the blood coming in.
Right.
So, man, super excited for this movie.
Yeah.
All right, so we move back over to Chad.
Oh yeah, let me pull up my list. If I'm still going alphabetical, I wrote down and I don't know much about this actually, but The Blackening. It could be very, very bad or could be great. I don't know. It's like a horror comedy.
From Tim Story.
And he normally does like pretty good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did he do The Barbershops?
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, but
he also did the Fantastic Four films, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. Yes, he did. Yep. The ride along, stuff like that. So this is like a big comedy. I should have looked this up. Hold on, I'm trying to pull the actual movie up. The Blackening, so I can give like some content because you guys don't know about this, right?
I don't.
On the lists I was looking at.
The Blackening. Oh, it's weird. It says it's a 2022 American comedy, but things get pushed sometimes.
Yeah.
Comedy horror film directed by Tim Story.
It's possible it was already released in a festival.
Limited festival.
Yeah, festival. I don't know, but yeah, expanded from a 2018 short film by the improv comedy group Three Pete. The film follows an all-black group of friends who encounter a killer while staying at a cabin in the woods. So kind of like Evil Dead.
Ooh.
Not Evil Dead. Friday the 13th. So that could be really interesting, really funny. Yeah, I threw it on my list just because I don't know much about it, but if it's like well written and stuff like that, we could get like another classic like slasher kind of comedy. So, and we love those.
Oh, yep, we definitely love those. Carrie, thoughts on The Blackening?
Yeah, I saw this on the list of like 2023 releases, and I almost put it on my list. I thought it looked interesting. Yeah, I definitely would want to check it out because horror comedy, when it's done well, can just be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I have not heard of this movie. So based on the information I've heard, this does sound really, really good. I mean, Tim Story, he's hit and miss, but he's definitely has some really good hits. And I think him going into kind of horror is kind of interesting, doing his like kind of comedic take on horror. I kind of hope this is like almost a Scream type movie where it's like it kind of pokes fun at like the cabin in the wood tropes and things like that, and adds that kind of horror meta commentary to it, which it sounds like it might do because of like the slasher in the cabin in the woods, things like that. It just sounds kind of formulaic, but that's also what it could use to its advantage.
Right.
Yeah, and I like the barbershop movies. I think are pretty great. So yeah, if there's a good writer behind it, I could see it being good.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move back over to Carrie for her next selection.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Insidious 5, which I think has been entitled Insidious Fear the Dark. Again, I know the first two Insidious movies are a lot stronger than the third and fourth ones, but I personally still really enjoyed the third and fourth ones. I still thought they were decently
The
scary.
Last Key.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I still like them because that is like the exact type of horror that really scares me. So I think there are some horror subgenres where, you kind of you get sucked in and you like it no matter kind of what it is or like if it meets certain things. So I'm excited for this one. I believe Patrick Wilson is directing this one. So that's just going to be very interesting. I can't remember if it's his like directorial debut.
I think it might be.
I think it is.
I'll definitely look it up while Hunter talks.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm super stoked for this. I'm expecting it to at least be if it's as good as 4, I'll take it.
So I have never seen any Insidious movies.
Interesting.
Oh my god.
I need to check them out.
Yes, please do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Lee Winnell direct the 3rd one?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Okay, so
that was before he was really, really, really
you
good.
can really see the progression of Lee Winnell from Insidious 3 to Upgrade to The Invisible Man. That's a progression.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a series that I hear great things about, especially the first 2. It's also James Wan directed the first 2, correct?
Yeah.
So it's like James Wan, Lee Winnell, 2 of my favorite horror directors. So I definitely need to check these out. I've just never been a huge fan of like paranormal movies. But I mean, like The Conjuring did it well because it focuses on the good story of the family and things like that. But maybe if Insidious does the same, maybe it'll hit me in the same way.
Yeah, Insidious is an interesting franchise. I do agree. I like the first 3. I don't remember liking the 4th one much, but I think they were kind of like running out of ideas to do. I don't think the direction was like particularly good in that one either. Yeah, but I still put it on my list, Fear the Dark, because I'm always excited when it's been a while since we've had a a release since we've had a Insidious movie come out. And so when you have like a good gap between, then I'm like, well, maybe they've had time to think of a really cool story to do. I'm excited to see Patrick Wilson direct a movie because this is his directorial debut. And he's really great in the Conjuring and Insidious franchises. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. And, it's got Juan and Winnell and obviously Jason Blum as producers. So yeah, Blumhouse churning out some really good horror. So as Josh Lambert heads east to drop his son Dalton off at school, however, Dalton's college dream soon becomes a living nightmare when the repressed demons of his past suddenly return to haunt them both.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
So I will say, I looked up on IMDb. Insidious Last Key came out in 2018, so there's a 5-year gap.
Yeah, so
between
it's good.
Yeah, the Last Key and then this one, which 5 years is actually a really good amount of time to get a great script, great story, things like that. So I do feel confident about that. I need to watch. I'll probably watch all 4 of them leading up to the 5th one, so I'm caught up all the way. And that's something we could do an episode on as well, like do an Insidious episode.
Definitely.
I love that.
And they are sufficiently scary.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you watch the first one, just like kind of like as the camera moves, just keep watching for things because
I love that.
They like hide like little stuff.
I think they're all very scary, but like I said, like the paranormal stuff is what gets me. That's
yeah.
Like
ghost shit is and demon shit is, and it's kind of like Stranger Things, and in that it has like its own like other world.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Sweet. All right, on to me real quick. I'm gonna go with one that sounds interesting, but I'm going for it just because of who the director is, and that's Shelby Oaks, directed by YouTube's own Chris Stuckman. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's so good to see Chris Stuckman actually getting a movie out. And so Shelby Oaks says a woman desperate search for her long lost sister falls into obsession upon realizing that the imaginary demons from their childhood may have been real. So again, it has that kind of supernatural, maybe half slasher feel to it. Plus, I'm just glad to support any YouTubers who have big releases come out, especially in the horror genre. And I know how big of a horror fan Chris Stuntman is. So the fact that, you know, it's someone who's passionate about horror and passionate about movies, giving us a probably a mid-budget horror film just sounds intriguing to me.
Yeah, fun fact, Chris Duckman is actually like the YouTuber. The other critic that I like a lot is Dan Murrell, but Chris Duckman is the like critic YouTuber that got me into wanting to watch movies, like from like a critical perspective and just
Mhm.
like get into film more. Because just the way he would, review movies and stuff like that. So I used to be and still am a huge, I always was, I guess, a big Chris Duckman fan, as like a critic. But him going into actually directing, I mean, he's directed like small stuff before,
Yeah.
nothing like major that's actually being like released in the theaters and stuff like that. And it's just really cool the way he did it to actually get like so much funding from Kickstarter that he would actually be able to make a film from that. And I remember even he got a tweet from Mike Flanagan that was like, "Way to go, Chris!" So it's
Yeah.
he's getting to like a level where he can actually make stuff and be legitimate as like a good horror director. So I'm excited for him, and I hope the script is good and everything. It's got Keith David in it, so
Yeah, I saw that. That's huge.
that is huge. You got like a really big actor who's in The Thing in his
Mhm.
movie. Like that's just incredible. And yeah, I am actually a backer of that. So I will get a Blu-ray of Shelby Oaks.
That's
I
cool.
actually forgot it was coming out, but yeah, uh, it's just because it's been in development for a little bit. But yeah, it's not that long of a process, I guess. And then yeah, so that'll be really exciting to see. I hope it's great. And yeah, got great shout out there, Hunter. I'm excited for that one a lot.
Carrie?
Yeah, I had this on my list as well. I knew Chad that had backed the Kickstarter for it and has been a fan of Chris Stuckman's for years and years and years now.
Mhm.
Like I remember just like some of the first YouTube videos Chad showed me about like movie critiques and everything were Chris Stuckman videos. And like you said, Hunter, he's such a big horror fan that I'm just excited to see what he actually puts out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually funny to look back and see how many people who started on YouTube are now doing like big budget horror movies. Like Radio Silence started out on YouTube doing like, small little shorts or whatever, like
Yeah,
short movies.
the director of oh my god, I'm blanking. Fede Alvarez, I think, had started with a or a short that wound up on YouTube. It might not be like a YouTube short, but he started with a short film that got attention. Stuff like Lights Out, I think, started from a short film.
Hmm.
Even Ari Aster, I think, got his start with just, a short film. So it's
Yeah,
really
so it's really
Oh,
cool to. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to piggyback off of that and say a lot of filmmakers will start with the short film and then
right.
expand them a lot of the times.
Hmm.
Like Edgar Wright did a small college film. It wasn't a short film, but it was like a college, like a spaghetti western that was a silly fistful of fingers. And then he was Shaun of the Dead, and a lot of people are like, "That's your first film," and he's like, "Sure, that's my first film. I don't care." And
Yeah.
then, but even like Mike Flanagan started out with like a short film. I
Mhm.
think that got expanded into
I think it was
something. It
Oculus.
was Oculus. You're right. Yep. So
And funny enough, James and Chelsea from Dead Meat are producing their own horror film.
Oh, I
that's
didn't know
cool.
that.
It's based on it's a horror interpretation on the Michigan State College rivalries, and
Okay.
like
Okay.
what if that went overboard?
That
Uh,
sounds fun.
Nice.
they have like a trailer on it on the Dead Meat YouTube channel as well. It looks really good. I like to see like kind of the creators that I follow, like Dead Meat and things like that, or Stuckman, get into bigger things. And what's cool about it is like even guys like Radio Silence will like come back down to YouTube and like support other creators as well. Like I've seen them pop on like the Demi podcast and like different smaller YouTube channels just to like you know kind of show that like YouTube is more than just a separate entity. Like if we all grow as a community, then there's something that can help us all like kind of just flourish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Chad with his next pick.
Oh, mine. Okay. I'll go with the Boogeyman. This is actually a Stephen King adaptation, apparently.
Mm.
It's
a short
probably
story.
a short.
It's a short
collections.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know which one, Carrie?
Nope.
Okay. So yeah, it's high school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the recent death of their mother. They're not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who's dealing with his own intense pain. I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be creepy or not, that last thing. But yeah. I don't know. They once made a Boogeyman movie that I didn't see.
Eric
Carrie
Kripke
saw.
did.
Oh, okay.
I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
It was
from like 2006 or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Before Supernatural, pre 2006 actually, because it would have been before Supernatural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been like 2000, between 2002 and 2004, I think.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. I'm excited about it because I just don't know much about it. But like, anything with like the Boogeyman or the Babadook, I'm like, me and Tara Carpenter are like, okay, I'm excited for that. So it's interesting. It looks like it's going to be PG-13, so maybe it's going to be. I don't. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes they're able to still do really creepy things with PG-13.
Yeah,
it's just.
I mean, The Conjuring was PG-13, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of like blood and stuff in that, but maybe it was. I don't remember, but yeah, no, it just depends on how effective you are at like tension and stuff like that. You don't always have to have like blood and nudity and stuff like that. So
Conjuring is R, but there's been good PG-13 stuff.
Yeah. And, Sean Levy is producing it. Rob Savage is directing it, who did Host.
Oh, I love
So
Host.
I knew
you got the guy behind Stranger Things and the guy behind Host doing a horror movie.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty damn good. Yeah, that's just on my list as well. I didn't even know that information, so that makes me even more excited for it.
Yeah, I also have it on my list. I saw the teaser trailer on YouTube. It looks really good. It looks really tense. Yeah, these type of like kind of supernatural element movies, I think they're okay being PG-13 because you don't have to show like blood and gore and things like that. You can kind of make like a tension-filled horror film without really showing a lot, which is what I like about movies like Paranormal Activity and things like that, where it's like a steady cam, but you kind of notice stuff off to the side. So yeah, the Boogeyman actually looks very interesting. I know, as we said, it's based off of Stephen King, I think short story, or like a blur from a short story. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. So let's move on to Carrie with her next selection.
Yeah, so my next one is going to be the Salem's Lot remake.
Oh.
So I think it'll be exciting. We actually haven't seen any of the prior Salem's Lots. I know the one from, God, I think it's the 70s, but maybe it's the 80s. It's supposed to be pretty good, but I imagine is probably a little bit like, visually outdated. So I think it'll be exciting to get an updated version. It's going to be directed by Gary Dauberman, who his prior directorial credit is Annabelle Comes Home, which was good. He also, though, was a I think if you look at kind of his writing credits, it's a little hit or miss. He was a writer on all three Annabelles and It and The Nun. So I would say like 2 of the Annabelle movies are good. 1 of them's bad. The Nun is bad. It's fantastic. So I think this could be.
It's like a roller coaster.
I'm excited to see it though. I think I think this one is going to be great or it's going to be awful. I don't think it's going to be really in between, but we'll see.
Yeah, Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen, or at least I haven't actually seen the original,
Right.
like one, but I've heard that like some of the imagery, like the boy outside the window, the vampire outside the window or whatever, is supposed to be some of like the creepiest imagery, and I've seen stills of it, so I feel like it's probably worth revisiting the older one, but like that doesn't mean that they can't make a pretty great remake. I mean, it's hit or miss with the Stephen King adaptation. I mean, we just got Firestarter come out, and people are like, "That one's not good."
I haven't seen it, so I can't say if it's good or not.
I was just saying, people often say it's not great, but I also haven't seen it, and so it just really depends. But then It was fantastic. The second It was pretty good too. So it really just depends. But I'm always down for a Stephen King adaptation. Even that The Boogeyman is one. So yeah, they keep trying them. Maybe it's great. I mean, the best person that knows how to do Stephen King is Mike Flanagan. If it's not a Mike Flanagan, then it's going to be hit or miss. But we'll see. I'm interested for sure. The book is good. So
yeah. All right, so back to me. I'm going with one that when I saw the trailer for this movie, I knew immediately that this is a movie for me, and it's Renfield. Okay. Nicolas Cage as Dracula in this horror comedy with Nicholas Hoult. It says Dracula's henchman and inmate at the lunatic asylum tries to give him bodies and then for letting him escape. And then hijinks ensue. I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, just the fact that we get Nicolas Cage as Dracula is like a selling point for me. Plus, I love Nicholas Hoult from The Menu, so yeah, let's go. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This was on my list as well. I remember when the press stills of Nicolas Cage dressed up as Dracula were coming out, and everyone was like, "This is gonna be fantastic."
Yeah, it is.
So, and yeah, like you said, Hunter, just from the trailers, I think this is going to be like just Nick Cage is being Nick Cage. And Nicholas Hoult, he's always fantastic in everything he does. So I'm really, really looking forward to this one as well.
Chad?
Yeah, no, this one caught my attention right away as soon as the trailer came out. I love Nick Cage. Like, I haven't seen everything Nick Cage, but every single time I see one, I just love him in the movies. Same with Nicholas Hoult. It's a little bit different because even when like Nick Cage is in a very bad movie, he's still the best part in it, and he's still entertaining me either way. Even if his performance is weird, he's just great. And this does look like he's going to be doing some sort of like serious, but maybe kind of campy take on Renfield, or not. He's not Renfield. He's Dracula. And then his assistant Renfield or whatever. It's kind of like a What We Do in the Shadows kind of vibe with like the familiar turned into the vampire to do his bidding and stuff like that. It looks so cool. Yeah, it's just going to be like a really fun horror comedy, but also kind of like action. So it looks like it's going to be kind of like very Malignant kind of style.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot like Malignant style of like over the top, like crazy violent.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like as like out there as Malignant was, but maybe. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be very silly from the start, like very comedic. So, hopefully some of it will be, horrific too. I guess, if he's like tearing people apart and stuff. And Awkwafina's in it, so she's going to be really funny, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I think it's just going to be a really fun time. Especially like going to the theater and stuff. So.
This is interesting. So the director of Renfield is Chris McKay, who directed the Lego Batman movie.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love the fact that Nicolas Cage is related to Francis Ford Coppola, and now Nicolas Cage is playing Dracula.
Yes. Good point. Yep, Nick Cage, if you did not know, is a Coppola. There
He
you go.
is indeed. Yep. So like the Dracula connection in the family runs deep. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move back over to Chad.
All right, start back to me. I'm sorry, I'm never prepared. All right, I was going alphabetical. Yeah, so I'll throw up the next one. I believe this is alphabetical for me. The Exorcist. We're getting, I think this year. Is it not this year?
No,
It
it's
is this year.
Okay, we're getting a David Gordon Green Exorcist movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, wait until I finish
I'm
before you.
waiting. I'm waiting.
I'll be finished in a second. I'm not that well versed in like Exorcist film because I've really only seen the first The Exorcist, which is one of the greatest horror films of all time. I adore that movie, and it's very, very, very scary. So is the first Halloween from John Carpenter. Is another one of my all-time favorites. And so this is another franchise that David Gordon Green is going on to, I don't want to say take over, or maybe it's not even a franchise for right now. It's just one movie.
Well, they've already announced it's going to be a trilogy.
Okay, that's probably what Carrie is going on to. So,
I'm sorry.
all right,
Sorry.
all right, David, you need to calm down. Because this is you're getting ahead of yourself. I don't know why. Jason Blum lets you do all this. Is it Blum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know why. He
No.
just lets them do whatever the hell they want. Usually it turns out good, but
Yeah.
sometimes not. But yeah, I'm interested. Unless that first movie comes out and is just terrible, then I'm interested. If it's good, then I'll be excited. Kind of a deal. I mean, I guess that's how franchises work, but hearing that it's gonna be a franchise either way is just kind of strange to me. No, but I'm excited. Hopefully it's very scary and stuff like that. I'm not ready to just write off David Gordon Green just because the Halloween franchise wasn't like crazy super planned out, especially because I really, really liked Halloween Ends. So if he's able to do that, like do whatever he wants and not have to, I have to do, I have to like make this an homage to all the other Exorcist films. Like if he just makes a good movie, like with a story, I think that might be good.
Carrie?
Okay, I did not put this on my list. I'm not looking for it. I have to say, I do not trust David Gordon Green. I mean, nothing against the man, and I feel bad saying this, but I don't trust him with The Exorcist. Especially knowing, like you said, Hunter, that it's already planned to be a trilogy. We know what we got out of the Halloween trilogy. I don't know, which I didn't particularly love. I mean, I think some of the movies are better than others and some of them were fine, but I just don't see his style going well with The Exorcist. So I don't, and I'm trying to think of what else I was going to say about this, but yeah, I'm just not, I hope that I am very pleasantly surprised. But I'm going into it not expecting to like it at all.
Yeah, so I have The Exorcist on my list only because it is up in the air for me. I'm not ready to hate it completely. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think David Gordon Green is doing the exact same thing he did with Halloween. I think this Exorcist movie is a sequel to the original.
All right.
It's a sequel to the original and then a planned trilogy after that. I think he's doing the same thing as the Halloween.
Worse, even worse.
You never know.
Let me look it up just to be sure, because
I wouldn't be surprised though.
Like the wrong information out there. Give me 1 second. I'm pretty sure. Yep, sequel to 1973 film about a 12-year-old girl who is possessed.
Oh, we're doing a requel.
It's a requel.
We're doing a requel and then a franchise on top of that. It's the Halloween formula.
This is how Scream.
Look, maybe we'll get a great Scream 7 out of it, you know?
This is how Scream 5 was ahead of its time doing the requels.
Yes.
We know they're coming.
Yes.
So
again, I'm up in the air because I really did enjoy 2018's Halloween. Even though it was a sequel to the original Halloween, I like how they incorporated everything. I think the first Exorcist movie he's doing can be great. I'm worried about 2 and 3, but we'll get there when we get there. Hence why it's on my list for the first one, because I do have faith in his opening of a trilogy, not his middle. I didn't mind Halloween Ends, but yeah, it was not like a cohesive unit of a trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just don't think. I think a lot of the things I liked about Halloween 2018 and Halloween Ends were more things that were like callbacks to the original, which I do. And, I do think David Gordon Green really has a love for these movies and really loves horror and knows his stuff. But I just don't think the screenwriting is really there. I don't think the direction is really there.
Yeah, I will say it is interesting that Ellen Burstyn is coming back for this one.
That's cool.
And then Leslie Odom Jr. is also going to be in this one as well.
Oh, I do fucking love Leslie Odom Jr.
I do as well.
Me too.
So,
all right. Well, okay, all right. I'll say I'm excited for Leslie Odom Jr.
It's up in the air. All right, so I believe it's my turn. No, it's Carrie's turn.
Okay. Wait, no, it's Chad. Oh yeah, because Chad just said that.
Chad picked The Exorcist. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the rest of mine are remakes, where I'm just kind of excited to see where they might go. So I have first the Strangers remake.
Is that coming out this year?
It was on a list that I looked at for coming out.
Ooh.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I know one of the people from Riverdale is in it, Madeline Pesh, who plays like Cheryl Blossom in Riverdale. Mostly I'm just excited to see how they do with it. The first one's an amazing film. So if they can, hopefully it won't be like a straight remake. Hopefully it'll be, we'll get some nice twists and turns, and it'll be more like taking the concepts from the original and making it into something new. I think that could be really scary and really fun.
The Strangers remake. It's weird that movie is getting a remake. I don't understand that at all. That was like a 2008 movie. Like, it's not like we're getting like a remake for something that came out in the 70s or something like that. It's like, why not just make a third Strangers? I don't know. Like, that's not a movie to me. First of all, I don't think the original Strangers is like a fantastic movie. I think it's good, but like, I don't know. It's just such a simple concept that I just don't understand why they're marketing it as the Strangers, next generation. Or whatever they're doing with it. So I just don't understand it, to be honest. Like, why that? Like, why not just pick a new like home invasion type of thing? Like, is this like, it's also not even like it's like Funny Games, where it's like an American remake of a movie that came out like not that long ago. And I don't know, I guess maybe it's been over a decade since this has come out, so yeah, I guess it's Prime. I don't know, I just don't really feel like that one. It's just weird. I don't know. It's just a weird concept. That's for
fair.
me.
I totally.
But also, I haven't seen a trailer for it or anything like that. So maybe a trailer will release and it'll look really interesting.
Yeah, so, I am curious. I would hate it if it's like a shot for shot remake or like the same beats from the 2008 movie. I think what Strangers Pray at Night did really well, and there's a lot of things it did wrong, but it tried to add something different. It tried to add something different and like kind of make it over the top gory, like not set in one house but set in the neighborhood. So it added new things to it to make it seem like, okay, this makes sense as to why it's a sequel. Like the same characters, but like not the same family in the same different location. This one, if it's the same characters from the original, or if it's a sequel to a requel, whatever you guys want to call it, like I don't know if I'll be interested in it that much. But if it takes the idea of the Strangers and then gives it a new twist, that could be interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, on to me. So this is the one that I not sure like anyone would count as a horror movie, but I'm just kind of interested based on the cast and the idea of this franchise. I'm going with the Haunted Mansion.
It counts.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion remake from Disney. So it says a single mom named Gabby hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise their newly bought mansion after discovering it is inhabited by ghosts. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Rosario Dawson, Winona Ryder, Jared Leto, Owen Wilson. Just a fucking star-studded cast, man. The trailer looked really good. It looks fun. It looks like it's one of those movies that like can go a little bit darker for kids, like maybe something like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where it was kid friendly, but it had moments of like this could be a great entry to like for kids for like horror. Parents can have fun with it. So yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see where they go with the Haunted Mansion remake.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I think I might have seen the original like once, but like I
Eddie
didn't
Murphy.
not one that. Yeah, I didn't watch that one like like growing up, so it doesn't hold any specialness for me or anything like that. But I'm excited to have a good idea for like another one. But like a remake, it seems like really cool. The name that like really got me like, oh, I'm totally adding this to the list. Like Keith Stanfield, because dude is amazing in everything, especially like Atlanta and stuff like that. Like I just love him, and I just think he definitely, I know he's been doing a lot of like drama recently and stuff, but like, if you see Atlanta, he's got comedic chops. So,
Mm-hmm.
like a good like family horror comedy sounds like really fun. I'm excited to see like what they do with it, and hopefully maybe they can make it like a little creepy as like, like kid creepy. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like I would say even stories, stories, scary stories.
So that's the one Hunter mentioned.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or
So
like Casper or something like that, where like it kind of.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no,
Well, I doubt it's gonna go to Scary Stories level. Like I think that
probably
was
not.
PG-13, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think and some even more stacked cast, some names that have not been mentioned yet that are attached to this movie are Dan
Dan
Levy,
Levy, yeah.
Danny DeVito, and Tiffany
The
Haddish.
Haddish, yeah.
So
Hassan Minhaj is in it.
yeah,
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
so
funny people.
I think it'll be worth it just to see the cast in this movie almost. Like it is incredibly stacked. So I think it should be really fun. Hopefully.
Yeah, hope so. I will say, as someone who grew up like right in the era of the 2003 Haunted Mansion movie, I used to watch that movie all the time. And what's great about going back and watching it is there were some like really freaky moments in there, like the kidnapping of Eddie Murphy's wife, to like pretty much wanting to like force her to marry him. There was literally a line in there where it's like, "I will send you all down to hell," in a Disney movie, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. So just like the idea of like a haunted mansion kind of going more in the horror route just seems like so intriguing to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully if they can like get the like effects down and do a lot of like practical shit, I think that could be really cool. Even though it's Disney, like big budget Disney, ideally they can like make something special here. I mean, it's not Disney, right? But like the Welcome to the Jungle Jumanji, something like that. That
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know, that's like a weird Jumanji thing later, and then you're like, holy shit, this might be my favorite Jumanji movie.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's move back over to Chad.
oh yeah, to me, well, it's thinning out. I'll go with Saw 10. This one's interesting because or Saw X. I guess it's Saw 10, right?
Yeah.
Um, if this is legitimately the 10th movie, that's kind of interesting. Unless it's Saw X, like Jason X, that's not a great like thing to want to be like. But yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting. Like Hunter, you were probably too young, but like when the first three Saw movies came out, holy crap! Like I was not a big horror fan. I was too scared to go see horror movies. But like after I saw the first one and had to cover my eyes during that one part with the foot, um, I was going to see the second and the third one in the theaters, and I was like, every Halloween, it's like a tradition. You go see the Saw movie. So it was a big deal back in the day. And then it started to get like, kind of convoluted with the story, but the traps are really fun generally still. But yeah, like the whole Jigsaw die is kind of a deal, and then they're trying to like stretch out this story like so far. And then when they finished that, they're like, a couple years go by, we'll release a new Saw film. So they came out with Jigsaw, and then they came out with Spiral Book of Saw. And neither of those felt like, I think Jigsaw was kind of fun, but like neither of those films were like Saw's back. So I don't know what to expect from this one. It's interesting that they're not like trawling at something different. It's not Jigsaw. It's not from the Book of Saw. It's Saw 10. So I'm interested to see like what they do with it, to see if they go back to the original kind of story or do something completely different. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this one, so I'm interested. And I think at least it'll probably be fun. So I'm hoping if you like those kind of like torture movies, so I like the game aspect of it.
Okay, I don't think Saw has been fun since like Saw 2. But
that's fair.
Yeah, it is like Chad said though. The first one I remember watching, like renting from Blockbuster, and my friend and I got so scared we had to watch SpongeBob afterwards.
Yes.
And the second one was we her mom bought us a ticket and bought her and her brother like some PG movie ticket and like hid the Saw ones underneath, and we kind of
I've done that before.
Yeah, so we were too young to see Saw 2.
My similar story to that is like my mom one time rented me The Exorcist, and I was not ready for it. I guess I had the director's cut because she was doing the spider walk down the stairs.
Ooh.
And then as soon as that happened, I noped the fuck out. I was way too young to handle The Exorcist. And then I went and watched Chicken Run. So also a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say even starting with 3, I think they just played off of the concept and for money just kept churning them out. I really wish they would stop making Saw movies. I do not enjoy them at all. Like I thought the first one was like original and unique. But I'm also I'm not a big person who's super big on like gore and torture and stuff. So I mean, I think if that's your thing and you love it, then awesome. This is probably a movie you definitely is like on your most anticipated list. But for me, it's just not one I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't even seen Jigsaw actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jigsaw either. I did watch Spiral from the Book of Saw. Yeah. I saw that one in theaters. I didn't mind that one. I think Chris Rock did good in it. I think Samuel L. Jackson really added a good mix of like acting chops and like just really comedic moments. But the story just wasn't there for me, and the twist at the end I didn't really like. So Saw 10, like, I'm not really a fan of the Saw movies. I like the first one. Rest of them, I'm just like, why do you keep bringing back like John Kramer? He died in the second one. Like, what's the point in this one? Like, I would like Saw more if it was like each story was like a different, unique tale, almost like a what's it called? Like an episodic thing. Where like each Saw movie is something completely different that doesn't tie into Jigsaw. And it seems like Saw 10 is going directly back to Jigsaw because Tobin Bell is in it. Amanda Young is coming back. The actress who played Amanda Young is coming back in it. I don't know how. I don't know why they're top billed. I don't know if this is going to be a prequel or what. I'm just sick of them going back to the same like John Kramer story.
Yeah, and I'll say at least like you said, Hunter Every Spiral was like a little bit original, and I think that's probably like I think the best one since like Saw 2, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. Like that way, I actually think is the right move for the Saw franchise because like not many people seem to like Jigsaw or I mean, there's a reason why they haven't gone back to continue that Jigsaw story or that Spiral story, is that it didn't really work and people didn't really like it. So, and when it was at the height of its popularity was back in those early Jigsaw days.
I think they're banking on, though, that they're thinking it's going to go back to those days where people would go and see it every Halloween, and I just don't think that's going to be the reality anymore.
You never know.
I think times are different, especially now with a lot of horror fans loving, like, as Jen Ortega said, elevated horror and things like that, and especially with the last year with how like unique and different every horror movie was. I don't know if Saw is going to have. I mean, it might still have an audience, but I don't know how big that audience is going to be compared to early 2000s, where like you had the height of the Saw franchise, you had what was it, Hostel and things like that, where it was like really the torture porn craze of horror was really big.
I do think it did get that like
Representation,
reputation, but I think the cool thing is like the original Saw movie had like a message to it and stuff like that. So like you know, people act like elevated horror was only something that started in the 2010s, and people add stories in their horror movies. I'm like, no, like horror's always had that. It's just, you know, depends on the movie and how it's been told and stuff like that. And like, so the original Saw had like an actual story to it, like message. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they try to go back to that to actually give us something, you know, because like after Scream 4, we didn't really know if they would make another good Scream. Like, oh, Scream's kind of done. Like 2011 is when Scream ended. I'm sorry. And then they came. Now it's fresh again. So, but they're not calling it Saw 2023 movie. So they wouldn't. I guess they wouldn't do that. I don't know.
Yeah, thank God they didn't do that. Yeah. Saw again. What? All right, so we move back over to Carrie for her next selection.
Okay, yeah, this is my last one I just threw on here, and it's, they're gonna do a Children of the Corn remake. So again,
I think it's already released, but yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure I saw reviews on it, but yeah, that's okay. But I mean, if you haven't seen it,
there have been a lot of. There was one in like 2020. I'm trying to look up the one that was on this list, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll just not even talk about this because I can't even find it on IMDb. Did you see the reviews you saw? Were they like, you know?
They were bad.
Okay, so let's forget it.
No, I mean, if you want to talk about it, go ahead. I mean, I know that I've seen reviews on this particular movie, but like the one I'm talking about next has been out for a while too, so.
Okay.
I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right that it's probably either already out or this is just like a really bad remake, and I don't know why it was on the list I was looking at, but I don't know. I probably will never watch it if it's already out.
Chad? Children of the Corn remake?
Like I said, Stephen King stuff is hit or miss. You know, sometimes more miss unless you have a great, like, you know, director behind it, like Mike Flanagan or whatever. I do think this movie had been released, and you know, I haven't heard anybody talking about how great it is or anything like that. So I'm not like crazy excited, but if I hear differently, then I might be.
Yeah, actually, and Children of the Corn is one of those like Amityville Horror, and I don't know how, but because it's a Stephen King title, but for some reason it's I think in the public domain, and so they just churn out like crazy, weird Children of the Corn sequels and stuff. Like there's a shit ton of them out there. And
how is that possible? That's in the public domain.
That's how I don't. It might, maybe it's not in the public domain. Maybe it's just like very cheap to get the rights to it. But I'll say like Amityville Horror is in the public domain, and they're like Fangoria actually released after Chainsaw Awards voting ended. They released a second poll that was like, oh, we decided to take. You can vote on the 5 Amityville movies that came out this year, like Amityville in Space and like all this weird stuff. So they just like turn those like anyone who wants to write an Amityville film can.
And that's kind of the same thing with Stephen King. Is like he doesn't like police people doing his movies unless it's like I think something like The Lawnmower Man that we had talked about because of trivia. They were like, that's not technically. It's the only one like he disowned or something like that.
I mean, it still is considered a Stephen King adaptation,
There's
though.
like
But yeah.
nothing to do with the original story or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that, but generally, he just goes, yeah, whatever, just do it. Have fun with it, kind of
He's like,
deal.
hey, I'm getting paid either way, so if
Right.
it's bad, I don't care. And then yeah, so my final one came out I think a month ago, or it may have been a month and a half ago. But Infinity Pool,
Right.
with Mia Goth, Alexander Skarsgård, Cleopatra Coleman. Uh, I just who is this directed by the way? Oh yeah, Brandon
Brandon
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg.
So yeah, just like the cast involved, the kind of the idea of this kind of weird, like unique kind of spiritual horror movie, at least very interesting to me. It hasn't got released anywhere locally in my theater, so I gotta wait for it to go on VOD. But I love Mia Goth. Alexander Skarsgård is really good, so yeah, I'm very excited for this one as well.
Infinity Pool, it's one that they did not allow online viewers of Sundance to see. It was a physical there in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
release. So we didn't get to see this one, and it did come in theaters briefly, but we didn't see it there either. I'm sure we will check it out whenever it's like free on some sort of service. I mean, it might already be. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. I haven't seen a Brandon Cronenberg film yet, but I've heard it's weird. I've heard some people say it might be kind of dull, but I don't know. Different kinds
Yeah,
of people like different kinds of stuff. So, I'm not going to base my excitement and anticipation for that movie based on that, but, I may or may not agree with them when I finally see it. We'll see. But I'll watch it.
Carrie.
Yeah, I also will watch it. I don't know. I've heard the first half is really good, and then the second half is kind of a mess. So, I'd definitely be interested in seeing it. Like you said, Hunter, I love Mia Goth, love Alexander Skarsgård. So, it'd be cool just to see them and to see a new Brandon Cronenberg film.
So looking on Rotten Tomatoes for Infinity Pool, this is one of the first times I've ever seen this. So Infinity Pool has a critic rating of 87 and an audience score of 51. So the audience hated it and the critics loved it.
That does happen. Yeah.
That normally means I'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, okay, what did the critics find interesting about this film? I may find interesting in myself as well.
Yeah.
All right, Chad, do you have any more on your list?
I do. Okay. So I have. This is the one that I was like, is this a horror movie? So it wasn't the same one, Hunter. It's A Haunting in Venice, which is a Kenneth Branagh movie. So it's kind of like Death on the Nile and Murder on
the Orient Express.
Express. The only reason I put this on there, even though, because it's like another Agatha Christie written Kenneth Branagh movie, but it's called A Haunting in Venice, and it's also adapted from Halloween Party. So it is labeled as mystery crime, but it could end up having horror elements to it.
I mean, yeah, I would count it as kind of a horror adjacent, maybe psychological thriller.
Yeah, even if it's like there's no actual haunting and it's, they do the Scooby-Doo
mask. The Scooby-Doo thing.
And yeah, and it was Jenkins all along, or something like
that. It's always Jenkins.
It's always Jenkins. But but even if it is that, if Kenneth can direct it in kind of a horror way, I think it'd make it like really kind of cool and exciting. So
yeah, I actually really liked Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. I know a lot of people didn't. I liked the murder mystery aspect of it. I didn't even know it was coming out, so I didn't put it on my list. It sounds interesting though. I mean, what is the haunting? Like, what is the mystery? What is it going to be? I really like the murder mystery type movies that kind of like give you a thread and just kind of move along with it. Kind of like what's it called? Glass Onion last year. I loved Glass Onion.
That's good.
really, really good. So like movies like that are kind of in my wheelhouse, so I'll definitely check it out.
And
Carrie? Oh.
I was just gonna add, Carrie might actually really dig this because it's got she loved Belfast. It's got Jamie Dornan and Jude Hill in it.
Oh,
Ooh,
Jude Hill
nice.
was the kid from Belfast,
yeah.
right? Yes, yeah.
And yeah, I'm a sucker for a good mystery. So if it's well
And
done,
Michelle Yeoh.
really cool.
Yeah, I'm not
Yep.
making that
I
up.
don't know.
I'm excited now.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see this. Like, I think a good, well done mystery is always, even if it's not really, it doesn't wind up being hard. Like, I usually am a sucker for those.
Yeah. I don't have any more. Carrie, do you have any more?
I have two more, just
Okay.
real quick.
Sweet.
One, The Nun 2.
Oh,
I haven't even seen the first one.
I'm not actually like excited about this one, but like I think at least half, maybe a majority of the Conjuring films. So I'm interested to see if maybe this one could be. I'm always very optimistic. Okay, guys.
hey, that's great.
I'm always like, is this one the one that's
And who knows? I mean, the first Annabelle movie was hot garbage, but the second and third one were good.
Same with like Ouija. The first one is horrible. The
Well,
second one's great.
That's a different kind of story, but yeah, I agree with you.
But a lot of it depends on who they hire to direct and write the sequel.
I think it might be the same guy that did like Curse of La Llorona and Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. So yeah, I know.
I like the third Conjuring movie, so maybe
I did too, but I know
half and half with me right now. So
she did not like that movie. And then the last one that I had is something called The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh, with Russell Crowe.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And I put that on there because I'm like, this looks like it's gonna be like a legit like horror movie. So like, you know, if David Gordon Green's The Exorcist isn't great, this one might be the best Exorcist movie that comes out this year.
A Russell Crowe horror movie?
And
Yes.
Look, I am just fascinated. I've seen the trailer for this, and I was like,
I actually need to see the trailer.
What is wrong in Russell Crowe's life that he's doing this movie?
It's called what now?
The Pope's Exorcist.
I'm watching that trailer. That's happening.
The only thing that I recognize that the director did, Julius Avery, was Overlord, which I didn't see, but I heard good things about.
That's that like Nazi, like almost Wolfenstein type movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got Russell Crowe. Actually, I think that's kind of like the only name I recognize in this, but you know, I'm just putting it out there. This one could be good. It could be trash. I don't know.
It just looks to me, you know, like, I don't know. What's that one? Like, before he got really famous, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan did like The Possessed or Possession or something. Like, it kind of just, the trailer reminded me of those kind of movies.
Okay. We'll see.
Okay.
But Russell Crowe for some reason.
Russell Crowe has a weird career so far. He was in a Thor movie, now a low budget horror movie. It's everywhere, man. I appreciate it.
He was also in Unhinged, which was like a
that was good, but that was like, you know, I don't know. I feel like they just like told Russell Crowe to like be himself, and that's what came out.
He's like, hey man, just go. Someone cuts you over traffic, fucking chase him down. Get his ass now. All right, I think that's all of our most anticipated movies of this year.
Yeah.
Seems like a very interesting year for horror. Yeah. Hopefully it's as good as 2022. I don't know if it's going to be, but fingers crossed. Chad and Carrie, where can people find you online?
Here.
Yeah, I'll just run through them because I do this at the end of everyone. Check out Chadwick Webb YouTube channel. We rank stuff on there. A lot of fun over there. We did Phase 4 MCU recently, Quentin Tarantino, Disney animation, stuff like that. A really good time. Check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network. He did a big subathon recently, which was very fun. Check that out. And check out my show in there, Picture This, where we go through Oscar stuff and talk about Best Pictures. Oscars are tonight, actually, when we're recording this. This probably won't come out tonight, but, you know, that's when we recorded this. And I'm very excited to see who wins stuff. You know, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the month, and go through every single one of the 2022 movies, and you know,
everything everywhere, everything everywhere.
Top Gun Maverick.
Me too.
No, that's probably going to win, but I still want my Top Gun to win. But you know,
Fair enough.
yes. Anyways, yeah. And then you know, next month we're gonna end with 1990, my birth year. So check that out. And then yeah, check out my blog, Clear Eyes Full Heart reviews.wordpress.com. I review stuff there. Check it out. Thanks. This was fun.
All right, guys. Yeah, this was fun. Check out the Scream exhibition match that we have up on the channel right now. That was fun. Gave some good traction as well, so I'm proud of that. So if you guys did like this, hit the like button, subscribe to Nerd Entertainment Network down below. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys soon.